seasonal case. In the last class we are discussing about seasonal case. See, we completed universe and solar system, and we have also completed latitudes and longitudes. Latitudes and longitudes. What is the main purpose of these latitudes? What is the main purpose of the latitudes? So latitudes are helpful in finding out, or latitudes are helping in order to know the references with regard to the temperature. So from the equator towards the poles, what is happening to the temperature? Why is it decreasing? Actually, because of intensity of the sunlight. Sunlight will be there, but the intensity is very less. So in the previous class, in the video, we have discussed very clearly how the sunlight is falling and how the tiltation of the earth is making to vary the sunlight. Okay? So from equator to poles, sunlight will gradually decrease. So what is the torrid zone? Torrid zone. So the places where the temperatures are so high all around the equator. The temperatures are higher only between 23.5 degrees north to 23.5 degrees south. So that is torrid zone. So torrid zone is also synonymous or coincidental with tropical regions. What is the tropical region? Between Tropic of Cancer and between the Tropic of Capricorn, both north and south. And we also discussed the frigid zones. What is the frigid zone? Above 66.5 degrees north and south. What is the subpole? Subpole. Below poles. Okay, so 90 degrees north and south is called as poles. So all around the poles is called as polar regions, and below the polar region is called as subpolar region. What is the subtropical? About 23.5 degrees below 40 degrees is called as subtropical region. What is the equatorial region? 10 degrees north and south is called as the equatorial region. So why is it called as equatorial region? All throughout the year. See, for suppose I told you, sunlight is, I told you about the intensity previously with the example, and there is another thing with regard to the example is consistency. So anybody, for suppose one day he is reading for 8 hours, the other day he is reading for 2 hours, again for 1 hour, again for 6 hours, again for 3 hours. If it is fluctuating, will it be good or bad? But if the same person is reading consistently for 4 hours in a regular manner, will it be perfect or not? So you can take the case of Rohith Sharma and Virat Kohli. So there are two uniqueness, but there is a consistency with regard to Kohli. Similarly, on the globe also, there is a consistency at one particular path. So wherever there is a consistency, obviously the results will also come. So with regard to biodiversity, which place will be having rich biodiversity? Which place? Very clear. Which place will have very good biodiversity or vegetation? Equatorial regions. Why are they having good vegetation and biodiversity? Equal sunlight and equal nights. So we looked at the Tropic of Capricorn, that is subsolar point at the December solstice. We also looked at the June solstice, also equinoxes. In all throughout the places, everywhere the equator region is having 12 hours day and 12 hours night. So when there is a 12 hours day and night, because of the low pressure, the rainfall will also fall. That is another concept. So that is why everywhere there is a consistency of rainfall, consistency of sunlight. Because of that, the equatorial region is having very good biodiversity. If you take the Western Ghats, if you take the Amazon rainforest, if you take all over the world, everywhere, the vegetation will be mostly focused on the equatorial region. Why is it more on the equatorial region? More sunlight. That is the first thing. See, if you look at the Arctic region or if you look at the Antarctic region, do you have the vegetation properly? Do you have good amount of biodiversity? So there is no good animals also. So why all these things are happening? So that is because in the northern poles there is a less sunlight. That is because of that they are having very less vegetation. So this one we discussed about latitudes. Next is about longitudes. So longitudes particularly essential for finding out what? Time zones. So we discussed for finding out the time zones. So as it is a globe, it will be having how much? 360. Circle will be having 360 degrees. So I consider 1 degree is equal to 4 minutes. 1 degree is equal to 4 minutes. It's a random calculation. No particular physics law associated with that. So in order to have a proper uniformity in time zone. So we calculated 15 degrees as 1 hour. Okay. Being the circle, every point is called as a starting point only. So we need something to find out or to keep it as a starting point. The starting point which we took is nothing but the 0 degrees at prime meridian or Greenwich meridian, which is passing through Royal British Observatory. Okay. So starting from this, two sides 15 degrees we calculated. For every 50 degrees, one time zone. So totally there are how much? 24 time zones. Any country should choose a time zone which should be a multiple of 7.5. Sir, if there is no country with a multiple of 7.5, they have to take a nearest value at least. If there is no country which is lying in the region of 7.5, you may get that out. See, longitudes are imaginary lines. They doesn't belong to any person's property. Suppose if you take space, India says space, Pakistan says space, that is the property of region belonging to them. These longitudes are imaginary things. No one can claim that this is my longitude, this is my longitude. On the same longitude, there is a London, there are many other countries in the Africa, in the Europe also. We cannot claim that particular longitude belongs to one. So, 7.5 is a reference value. So, based on that, every country will be having a particular standard time. And India's is called as India's standard time, which was taken passing through the center of the country, that is nothing but 82.5 degrees east. See, we discussed northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere. This is the 0, this is the western part and this is the eastern part. So India is lying in this region. So northern hemisphere and also India is lying in the east side. So basically eastern countries, we will call some countries as western countries, developed countries as western countries. Why are we using the word western? So western means the countries which are lying to the west of the 0 degrees longitude. So synonymously, most of these countries are developed. So western countries we are calling, developed countries we are calling. The word western came from the geographical context, not from the physical or some other context, from the geographical context. Similarly, we also discussed about international timeline or international dateline, where one day is starting, where one day is ending. So on the same place, day is starting, day is ending. So there are no place on this continent where the day is starting, where the day is ending. Why? Because we have arranged them, so mismatched them. We have placed, adjusted them. So that is why there is no country, but there is something called as 180 degrees longitude. So that is why it is an international dateline. We don't have much problem where here the day is starting, here the day is ending. Okay. So these are the things. So thereafter we discussed about position of the sun. How the sun will be there at December, how the sun will be there at March, then after June, then after September. Okay. So I'm just giving you 2 minutes time. Whatever the doubts you are having, just ask me. I'll answer them. With regard to seasonalities, etc. See, only mainland is good enough. If we take only mainland, Russia will be there. If we take even including the islands, France will be there. Even if we discuss that US is having 5 time zones, but if we include the islands of the US, we will be getting 11 time zones for the US. So because see, for suppose if you take the case of Britain, so Britain is very small in extent. But for suppose 100 years back, India is also the country belonging to the Britain. So while considering longitudes of the Britain, India will also be considered as Britain's place. Indonesia is also considered as Britain's place. Afghanistan, everything. So Britain, see even Australia, even America is also under Britain. So then Britain will be having more number of longitude. Slowly Britain has lost those islands. So Britain will be having less number of longitudes. So France is having islands at various places also. So take an example of a person who is a resident of Telangana. He might be having lands in Himachal Pradesh, he might be having lands in Gujarat, Uttarakhand, etc. So his mainland is Telangana state. If we consider properties with regard to mainland, Telangana will be considered. If we consider all over this country, then it will be having more. Similarly, for finding out the time zones also, France is having its territories in various other places also. If we include those islands, then the longitudes will be passing those islands also. So then France will be having more number of time zones. Okay? Rajeshwari ki doubt adige mano clarify edam. అంటే 360 డిగ్రీస్ ఉన్నాయి కదా, మనకు 360 రావాలి. సో 360 రావాలంటే 15 కూడా తీసుకోవచ్చు. యూ కెన్ టేక్ 15 ఆల్సో. బట్ స్మాలర్ కంట్రీస్ ఉంటాయి. స్మాలర్ కంట్రీస్ ఉంటే 15 will be difficult. Ultimately they have to rely on the longitudes far away from them. 7.5 will be balanced. దానికంటే తక్కువ తీసుకుంటే మళ్ళీ ప్రాబ్లం అవుతుంది. 7.5 by 2 is even more difficult. And that might not be a multiple of 15. So we need 15. For that, 15 is so long also to some places, so they consider as 7. We also discussed about scientists, Otto Schmidt, Carl Weizsäcker. So we discussed about Laplace and Fleming, Stanford Fleming. So these people have done some research with regard to the time. Next, how can we choose a particular place as 12 noon? How can we choose a particular place is having 12 noon? Where the shadow is shortest. Why the shadow will be shortest? Sun will be directly inclined. So when the direct 90 degrees means shadow will be less, intensity will be more. Okay? So there is a term called as 6 months days, 6 months nights in the higher latitudes. But that is limited only up to 5 months. 1 month will be impacted. So basically round figure they will be taking as 6 months. For suppose see, if you take here equinoxes. So this September equinox, it will be like this. Sunlight will be falling in the northern pole. Sunlight will also be falling in the southern pole. So what is this one? This one will be the September. Slowly, if it comes here, sunlight falling on the northern pole will be decreasing. Yes or no? So just September. From the October, sunlight will be not falling on the north pole. October sunlight will not be there. November sunlight will not be there on the north pole. December sunlight will not be there on the north pole. And January sunlight will not be there on the north pole. And up to mid of the February. Slowly from the mid of the February, sunlight starts falling on the northern pole. So when they come to the March, sunlight will be falling on the northern pole and also on the southern pole. So from the mid of the October or from the starting of the October to the mid of the February. So there is no sunlight in the northern pole. So that is why northern pole is considered as a darker. So there is no sunlight. The same thing will be happening with regard to south pole in this region. Okay? I hope I made you to draw the diagram. Did you draw the diagram? Timings? How the time is increasing, time is decreasing. Just write down this. Keep the heading seasonalities. Keep the heading seasonalities. Zone of illumination is a great circle. Great circle of illumination. Wherever the sunlight is falling, that is called as zone of illumination or circle of illumination. Did I give you definition of great circle? Okay, write down seasonalities. In that seasonalities, write down heading great circle. So anybody who came to this class first, try to get the video of the last class. Without last two classes, this class is incomplete. We just completed 3 classes, but last class and last 2 classes is important for this class. Okay, you can connect that because the last class explanation only I am giving you the notes. Okay, after this I will start the new topic. Great circle of illumination. Generally, if a plane bisects a circle, it divides that circle into 2 equal halves. It divides that circle into 2 equal halves. Okay, this is the meaning of bisect. So if we are bisecting means we are dividing the circle into 2 equal halves. So similarly, whenever the sunlight is falling on the circle, at any time, whenever the sunlight falling on the earth's surface at any time, it bisects the earth. See, this is a circle. This is a center point. We can divide the circle into 2 equal halves. Whenever I cut this circle from the radius, if I cut like this, will it bisect or not? If I cut like this, so just ignore this part. So if I cut like this, it will divide circle. If you remove, again if you cut like this, it will also divide the circle into 2 equal halves. If you cut like this one will also 2 equal halves. If you cut like this, 2 equal halves. So whenever the sunlight is falling on the earth, it will be in such a manner, it bisects the earth. Exactly that will pass through what? Center. Any direction. For suppose here you can see the location. All over the elliptical path of the earth, around the sun. Anytime the sunlight is falling, it will be such a manner, half part will get the sunlight, half part will not get the sunlight. For suppose, from here the sunlight is falling. This circle, this great circle, that is called as great circle of illumination. For suppose if the sunlight is falling from here, the end part, where means these are the 2 end parts, where the sunlights are reaching to the maximum extent. This end part is called as great circle of illumination. For suppose yesterday as I told you, from here sunlight is falling. So from here sunlight is falling, I told you Tropic of Capricorn will be the subsolar point on the December solstice. Sunlight is reaching highest point where? To this point. So generally that is the thing. So that basically divides the earth into 2 equal halves, whatever the situation may be. So that is bisecting the earth. So sunlight is called as great circle of illumination. Now I gave you the definition of great circle. Great circle means whatever the way you are dividing a circle into 2 equal halves, that is a great circle. So the sunlight is called as great circle of illumination. The great circle is getting by the sunlight. Through, because of sunlight only, we are getting the bisect. See, sunlight is not completely breaking the earth, but if we consider the area, it is called as great circle of illumination. So whenever the sunlight is falling on the earth, In whatever the manner, it will bisect the earth into two equal halves. It is called as great circle of illumination. Okay, just write down. Whenever the sunlight is falling on the circle at any time, similarly, whenever the sunlight is falling, don't write on the circle, on the earth. Generally, if a plane bisects a circle, it divides that circle into two equal halves. Similarly, whenever the sunlight is falling on the earth's surface, at any time, it bisects the earth, it bisects the earth. That is, it divides the earth into, it divides the earth into two equal halves. It divides the earth into two equal halves. Next, as the division is happening, because of sunlight, it is called as great circle of illumination. Great circle of illumination. Full stop. If we consider latitude, what is the great circle? Equator. If we consider the latitude, equator is called as great circle. Full stop. With regard to longitude, any longitude which passes through the center, can be a great circle. Okay, so the first point, the major thing you have to take down from this is sunlight will definitely divide the earth into two equal halves. Great circle of illumination. Else it is very difficult. Okay. Next, seasonalities. Will depend on the following factors. Seasonalities will depend on the following factors. What is the first one? Rotation, revolution, tiltation, unchanging orientation, spherical surface of the earth. Okay. So first one, revolution. No, that's what. Earth shape is geode. But in general terms, while calling, we'll be calling that as a spherical sphere. Geode shape, the shape is called as geode, as I told you in the first class. But in general parlance, whenever we are communicating, we will just call it as a spherical sphere. But it is not. It is a perfect sphere. Earth itself is the perfect sphere among all the circular objects. I told you that is why they are called as a geode. Okay. I think you were absent on that day. So North Pole and South Pole we considered. The difference is percentage. It is less than 1%. The difference is. So that is why Earth is called as the perfect sphere. Okay. So the following are the factors on which seasonality is depend. First one is revolution of the earth, revolution of the earth around the sun, revolution of the earth around the sun, revolution of the earth around the sun. Basically the nearest position of the earth from the sun is called as what? Perihelion. Farthest distance is aphelion. The farthest distance is aphelion. The farthest distance is aphelion. The average distance of the earth from the sun is 150 million kilometers. Okay, next one, side heading rotation. Earth rotates with a speed of around 1,07,280 kilometers per hour. Earth rotates with a speed of 1,07,280 kilometers per hour in an anti-clockwise direction. Rotation determines diurnal patterns. diurnal, diurnal patterns. Rotation determines diurnal patterns, that is day and night. The dividing line between day and night is can anyone tell me what is the dividing line between day and night? Dividing line. The dividing line between day and night is circle of illumination. The dividing line between day and night is circle of illumination. The length of day and night at the equator is almost 12 hours. The length of the day and nights at the equator is almost 12 hours. But in the other latitudes, the length of the day and nights will vary. According to the season. The length of the day and nights will vary according to the season. But on the equinoxes, places on the earth, but on the equinoxes, all the places on the earth will have equal days and nights. Will have the equal days and nights. That is why they are called as equinoxes. 12 hours days and 12 hours nights. Next, tiltation of the earth. Tiltation of the earth. To understand the earth's tiltation, we have to imagine a horizontal plane dividing the earth and also a normal on this plane, See, this is the earth. Just imagine a horizontal plane. Just take this now. So just a plane. As I have shown you with regard to book. This is a plane, and this is a normal. Here, just imagine the earth, and this is the axis of the earth. So this one is the axis of the earth. This axis is making 23.5 degrees with the what? Normal, and it is making 66.5 degrees with the plane. Okay, it is making 66.5 degrees with the plane. Okay, for this, as I told you, have to consider a horizontal plane and also normal cutting 90 degrees with the plane. Okay, so just write down Earth's axis is making Earth's axis is making 23.5 degrees. That is, Earth's axis is tilted 23.5 degrees with the normal. Earth's axis is tilted 23.5 degrees with the normal, and 66.5 degrees with the 66.5 degrees with the plane. 66.5 degrees with the plane. Okay. So this tiltation is also responsible because the countries are lying on the earth. So the tiltation is where? Yesterday, for suppose. So what is happening with regard to tiltation and seasonalities? You may get the rule. So tiltation and seasonalities means, for supposing this is the axis. This is the axis. Just imagine. This is the axis. If the earth is tilted, this is the original position. If the earth would have been in this manner, for suppose, this is the axis. Just imagine. This is the axis and itself is the normal. Okay? Axis is coinciding with the normal and this is the plane. So, for suppose, earth is likewise, it has bent earth's axis. Just imagine earth is like a normal spherical sphere. There is no much change if it is not tilted. Just imagine a place over here. Sunlight is falling on that. Will the intensity vary or not? Distance will vary, intensity will vary. And moreover, you are considering this as a plane. But this is not a plane, this is a circle. And see, this circle or this sphere or this geode is not a small geode. So understand how bigger is that. So just imagine a small ball. You can see the curve over there. But it is some thousands of kilometers in diameter. So how longer the sphere is? So basically, definitely, see this much it is tilted, not 1 degree, 2 degree, but how much? 23.5. So if the sunlight is falling on the same point, that will be different. And if the same sunlight is falling, for suppose this is one like this, if it is bent, then the dot will come here. So definitely its season will get impacted. Yes or no? So that's what you have to connect. See, other than season doesn't matter. This tiltation is impacting the season. The topic of the discussion is seasonalities. So on what factors the seasons are impacted? So revolution, it is completely making the rotation to happen. Rotation, day and nights. Okay. Small day and nights is responsible for the longer seasons. So rotation and revolution is easy. For this one, some people may be having some doubt. So how tiltation is causing the season? So for suppose see, if it is like this, here it will be the north pole, here it will be the south pole. If this would have been the situation, there is no situation of 6 months or 5 months nights and days. Every time north pole will get the sunlight, if it is like this. But why for a few days north pole is not getting sunlight? Why for a few days south pole is not getting the sunlight? Why? Because of its tiltation. If the tiltation is not there, there would have been no such situation where there is more darkness, where there is complete daylight. That won't be there. So that complete darkness, complete brightness for a few months is mainly because of the tiltation. For suppose see, we are discussing December, January, February, November, December, January, February is a winter season. Every year, see, since your childhood, we are discussing winter season will be in this month only. If we discussed that winter season will vary, have you ever discussed or else have you ever your civics teacher told about that? Why are we studying that only this month will be the rainy season, only this month will be the summer season, this month will be the winter season? Why are they not changing? Because the tiltation is not changing. Unchanging parallel orientation. Every time this is fixed. If this orientation changes, definitely seasons will also change. To this extent, we are believing that this is not changing. But maybe tomorrow or after that, due to some changes of the universe, this may change. Again, the seasons will change. So, but to this extent, this orientation is fixed. That will never change. So, that is the two conditions. Okay. So, the third point is tiltation. So, it is Earth's axis is tilted 23.5 degrees with the north, 66.5 degrees with the plane. Okay. This tiltation is responsible for complete darkness and for complete brightness for a few months. Okay. So next, unchanging parallel orientation. Unchanging parallel orientation of the Earth's axis. Unchanging parallel orientation of the Earth's axis. Throughout the annual journey, of the Earth, throughout the annual journey of the Earth around the Sun, its tiltation with regard to plane, bracket lo ecliptic plane, with regard to plane, that is ecliptic plane, and also perpendicular normal is always the same. Is always the same. The Earth's position while revolving all throughout the sun, all around the sun. Earth's position while revolving all around the sun the orientation of the axis is always the same. Full stop. At any point of time. At any point of time. The axis is parallel in case of other point, in case of other position. For suppose you look at the December month, you look at the June month, or you look at the December, February, or any month. Take any month and consider only the axis. So axis of one month is same parallel to the axis of another month. For suppose see, as I told you, imagine location of the earth, here, anywhere. So its axis, this axis, this axis, and this axis. So anything will be always parallel. So this condition is called as actual parallelism. This condition is called as actual parallelism. Next, Earth's spherical shape. Because of Earth's curved shape, there is an impact on the inclination of solar rays on the Earth's surface. Okay, this will also result in uneven distribution of insulation. This will also result in uneven distribution of insulation. INSOLATION. Insulation. Insulation means incoming solar light. Okay? Uneven distribution of insulation all throughout the globe. You may get this point, you may connect this. Sunlight is falling. Sun is not showing any discrimination on the earth. Sunlight is same. But the light that is falling on the earth is getting unequally distributed because of the curved position. For suppose see, the content I am going to deliver is same. So the frequency, the voice, everything is same. But the content received by you is different. So everywhere, sir, when you are delivering the same content, So why all the students are not receiving the same content? Some people will be still in the sleepy mode. They are unable to come out because of Monday or something. Or some students are still memorizing the things which are there yesterday. Some students are completely focusing on my concept, or some students are completely looking at me. Okay? So there are different things. So how you are taking that will vary on you, not on me. I am giving the same content. Similarly, sun is giving the same. Sun is not showing any partiality. Some people may say that sun is very much partial towards the equatorial region people, but the sun is very much partial towards the other people. Less partial, because there is a complete polar, etc. It is not because of the sun. It is because of the earth only. They are having less temperature, more temperature, all the variations. So he is completely doing his duty. It doesn't matter, he is just going on delivering the sunlight, but it is varying on the other people on the earth. See, this geography we can relate each, and with regard to geography and history, we can easily connect with the human habits, human things also. So same like yesterday, as I told you with regard to intensity. So sunlight is same, but the intensity is varying because of the curved position. Sunlight is same, but the impact is changing because of the curved position. Okay, so these are the factors. So most of the times, 2 to 3 times UPSC mains the question was asked. Discuss elaboratively or elaborately about the factors influencing the sunlight or factors influencing the seasonalities. This is the point. Okay, next. Position of the sun. Side heading: position of the sun. Position of the sun. First one, December solstice. Side heading: December solstice. December solstice. Solstice means the place where sun will be overhead. Okay, December solstice or winter solstice. Full stop. Solstice means the position of the sun reaching its highest position. Solstice means position of the sun reaching its highest position. That means generally you can consider with regard to the shadow. So where the sun will be highest, we see sun will, for suppose in the morning days, you can see slowly the sun will be rising. Slowly sun's rays will be visible. It seems like sun will be rising to the highest point. At 12 noon, sun will be highest point. Thereafter again the sun, it seems like it is decreasing. Sun is same, but our position is changing. Earth's rotation is changing. That is why it seems like sun is rising and the sun is going below. So where the sun is at the highest point, that is considered as the 12 noon. We will be getting high intensity of sunlight. Okay. Next point. So in the northern hemisphere, on this December 22, northern hemisphere on this December 22 experiences what? Shortest day, longest night, come on, and it is winter season. It is completely contrast. With regard to southern hemisphere. Contrast means what? Southern hemisphere, it is summer season. Southern hemisphere, it is longest day, shortest night. Okay? So whenever the question is asked, it has to be perfect. So if nothing is asked in the question, take it as a northern hemisphere. Because most of the countries are located in the northern hemisphere. Most of the experiments are focused by taking northern hemisphere as the reference. If nothing is given, take it as a northern hemisphere. Basically it's a wrong question, but there is a general assumption. If anything is not given, you have to consider it as a northern hemisphere. Okay? The subsolar point. The subsolar point is at the where? Tropic of Capricorn. The subsolar point is at the Tropic of Capricorn. Next. Northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sunlight. Thereby creating lower angles of insolation, sun's rays will be diffused. Sun's rays will be much diffused. That means scattered, divided. Sun's rays will be much diffused. That is why it is the winter season. The temperature will be less. Next. Beyond 66.5 degrees. Beyond 66.5 degrees, sun will not be above the horizon. Sun will not be above the horizon. See, the meaning of the horizon is, for suppose if you stand at the oceanic floor, or not means continental shelf, on the beach, if you stand over there, far away it seems like the water is touching the air, or else sky. Water will be touching the sky. That is called as the horizon. So in some movies you can see when the sun is rising, slowly you can see the sun is going to start. That particular line is called as the horizon. So from here the sun will rise, from here the sun will set. For suppose in Telugu, in Eenadu, for suppose in ETV, before starting any movie, there will be a small song. Ni Usha Kiranalu and Jeffrey song was. In that small simple song, the sun, they will be clearly displaying how the sun is rising and how the sun is setting. That particular point is called as the horizon. There is no fixed definition with regard to horizon. That's what I'm telling you. Stand on the beach, the place where the water and the sky seems to be touching, that is the horizon. So definitely the sun will definitely rise from there. Similarly, if the place is at the 66.5 degrees, you will never see the sun. Sunlight will be coming, but the sun will not be that much visible. So that is why sun will not be above the horizon, above 66.5 degrees north latitudes. Okay? So sun will not be above the horizon in the above 66.5 degrees north latitudes. Next. Moreover, North Pole is completely away from the sunlight. North Pole is completely away from the sunlight. Hence, there can be 24 hours darkness in the northern pole, during December, full stop. At the same time, South Pole is completely under the influence of sunlight. South Pole is completely under the influence of sunlight. Hence, 24 hours. Hence, 24 hours. There is a what? Brightness. 24 hours brightness. Okay. So yesterday in the diagram, I explained you clearly. Okay, this is it. And see, again you may get it out. South Pole is completely, South Pole is 24 hours. South Pole is 24 hours under the influence of sunlight. You may get it out. Sir, when this South Pole is completely, see, this region almost all completely under the sunlight. But still, why there is coolness over here? Less intense. That is the answer for every question of you. See, 66.5 degrees above will always be cooler. It doesn't mean that sunlight is not coming. Sunlight is coming, but it is in a diffused pattern. So the sunlight will be only highest in the Tropic of Capricorn. And don't take it for granted that here also sunlight will be more, and here also sunlight will be more. It's not like that. So only here only the sunlight will be more, means highest intensity. Tropic of Capricorn. So why more means sun's angle. Because of the spherical shape of the earth, it is impacting more. Moreover, at the highest latitudes, the curve shape is even more impacted. See, here the curve is less, but here the curve impact is more. It is curving, it is bending more. As I told you, 12,714 in the north and south. That means it is bent even more. So that is why the curve shape is more. Greater the curve shape, greater will be the diffusion of the sunlight. Yes, sir. So that is why, because of the shape of the earth, because of the curved shape of the earth, even though the sunlight is coming, it is having less cool. So if we want to have good enough temperature, the only source is the sun. Even though you create an artificial sun, artificial moon, anything, they won't come at par with the sun. So that's one you have to keep it in mind. And there is another property called as albedo, that is also impacting this. And why the polar ice caps are melting, or see, because of the sunlight polar ice caps are not melting, because of the pollution polar ice caps are melting. So how pollution is that much harmful, everything we'll discuss at the atmosphere topic. Okay, so this is the December. So North Pole we discussed, South Pole we discussed, subsolar point we discussed, how it is varying also we discussed. Okay, so here you can also write a time scale. Here you can also write a time scale. What is this? 90 degrees north, 60 degrees north, 40 degrees north, 0 degrees north. Sorry, equal. So here it will be 12 hours, 11 hours, and it will be 15 hours. Sorry. It will be decreasing, right? It will be 11 hours. Sorry, I have to 20 also. 20 degrees, 40 degrees north, 60 degrees north, 90 degrees north. So here it will be 11 hours. Decreasing. Slowly it is decreasing. Here it will be 9 hours. Okay. So here it will be 5.5 hours. And here it will be 0 hours at the winter solstice. That is in the December. So same here, 20 degrees south, 13 hours. 60 degrees south, 40 degrees south, 15 hours. 60 degrees south, 18.5 hours. 90 degrees south, 24 hours. Vertically or horizontally, write this one. If you have already written this, Just keep a number over there, like table 1, and right after this refer table 1. After this December solstice, just write it as refer table 1, because so that it will be there in your mind for so long. Table 1. Next, March equinox. March equinox. March equinox. Here, it is also called as vernal equinox. Vernal equinox. Vernal equinox. So March 20 to 21. It will be March 20 to 21. So maybe 20 or maybe 21, but between March 20 and 21. Okay? Maybe if it is 20, will not be 21. If it is 21, it will not be 20. Okay? March 20 or 21 is called as March equinox or vernal equinox. Okay? So northern hemisphere will gain a day. So will gain will gain daylight. Northern hemisphere will gain a daylight. Northern hemisphere will gain a daylight. Whereas southern hemisphere will lose daylight. The subsolar point is shifted to the equator. The subsolar point is shifted to the equator. Almost all the places on the earth, almost all the places on the earth will have equal days and nights. Will have equal days and nights. Next. So subsolar point is at equator. Next, side heading, June solstice or summer solstice. June solstice or summer solstice. June solstice or summer solstice. Here the subsolar point is shifted to, here the subsolar point is shifted to 23.5 degrees north latitude, 23.5 degrees north latitude, that is Tropic of Cancer. Here, circle of illumination includes North Pole, but excludes South Pole. Circle of illumination means the area under sunlight. Okay, circle of illumination includes North Pole and excludes South Pole. North Pole experience 24 hours brightness. It is 24 hours daylight. Hence, in the North Pole, everything to the north of Arctic Circle everything to the north of Arctic Circle receives 24 hours in daylight. It is referred as midnight sun. It is referred as midnight sun. It is referred as midnight sun. See, North Pole, Arctic Circle, night times still you can see the sun, midnight sun. The same thing is with regard to South Pole also. But there, generally we didn't give midnight sun. Because in the Antarctic Circle, very less people will be there. And mostly, as I told you, experiments are with regard to North Pole. So on December 22, which is called as midnight sun? December 22, which is called as midnight sun. South Pole. On June 21st, which is called as midnight sun? Now, because night times, generally darkness will be there. But despite the darkness, it will experience the daylight. Why? Because midnight sun is there. Okay? And the contrast with regard to southern. You can compare the same thing. And the next, September equinox. Side heading September equinox. September equinox. September 22, 23. September 22, 23. September 22, 23 is September equinox. This is also called as autumn equinox. Autumn equinox. With respect to northern hemisphere. Subsolar point is at the equator. Subsolar points are at the equator. Subsolar point is at the equator. Hence, all the places will receive equal, or else will have, all the places on the earth will have equal day and night. Equal day and night. Okay? So in simple, from this, sun will not be overhead beyond the tropics. Beyond the tropics, sun will not be overhead. Next, there are only 2 days where there will be equal day and equal night all over the earth. What are they? Equinoxes. When are they? March 20, 21 or September 22 or 23. So March 20, September 22, maybe one day, 2 days will only be equinox, but not on the other day. If March 23rd, sorry, March 22 or September 23rd, any day only 2 days equinoxes will be there. That one you can call it as a perihelion. So 2 perihelions will be there, 2 equal length and day and nights will be there. Okay, that just write down the final thing. Hence, sun will not be overhead beyond the tropics. Hence, sun will not be overhead beyond the tropics. Hence, sun will not be overhead beyond the tropics. Not getting your point. Why?
Actually, there is a force between Earth and Moon which is making them not to collide. Then why, if you stand on the Moon, there is no force, gravitational force, which attracts people on the Moon.
Which attracts?
To stand which are.
Okay, to stand on the earth. See, that is different scenario. Basically, you are asking that when we stand on the earth, we will be having Earth's gravitational force. When we stand on the Moon, why Moon will not have the gravitational force? Same like thing. So just imagine, a kind of a sphere or a kind of a fiber, elastic fiber, all around these celestial bodies. all around the universe will have some kind of gravitational force. The gravitational force will vary depending on the place. For suppose if you look at this, if this is the Earth's surface, for suppose acceleration due to gravity is more at the equator. Have you ever heard of this? Small g, acceleration due to gravity is more at the equator. Acceleration due to gravity is less at poles. Acceleration due to gravity is more at the equator, less at the poles. So why? What is the reason? Earth is a spherical. Earth is one landmass, or else one mass, one body. Why acceleration due to gravity? Acceleration due to gravity means, for suppose, if I throw a ball to, for suppose maybe 100 meters or 200 meters, that will again come back. For suppose, see, in general, as I told you in the beginning classes, if there is a body, if it is moving by its own, so if it is moving means there has to be some force behind that. I told you that. So scientists will be doing the same hypothesis and they will be doing the research. If a body is moving, more force. For suppose if this is moving, it requires a force. If it is moving with 10 kilometers per second speed, it will be having certain force. Suddenly, if its speed increases to 15 kilometers, what does it require? Force. What I am saying is that there is a body which is constant, steadily placed, but if it starts moving, we need force. As the body is moving, if we want to stop that body, for that also we require force. If the body is moving, if we want to move the body with more speed, then also we require force. If it is moving at certain speed, if we have to decrease the speed, we require force. If the body is moving, if the body has to move continuously, there also we require force. See, moon is moving continuously around the earth, we require certain force. Centripetal force, I told you, centrifugal force, gravitational force. These three in depth you will discuss in the physics. But just imagine there will be some force for continuous movement. That is the gravitational force, centripetal and centrifugal force are balancing, that is not falling on the earth. Next, similarly, when I am throwing a ball, so I am throwing the ball in this direction, in the above direction. But after reaching some point, what is happening to the direction of the ball? It is changing. When the direction is changing means, what we require? If something to happen, we definitely require force. It is changing the direction. So, direction is changing. There is some force for changing the direction. Fine. So, if it is going above, for suppose we are throwing with a 100 kilometers per hour speed. But if it is going above, what happens to the speed? Decreases. 0. The speed is decreasing. The speed is decreasing means we require force. It is becoming 0. Getting my point? It is becoming 0. Again it will come back. It will come back. Will it come with 0 speed? Again the speed will increase. The speed will be highest on the earth. See, speed is decreasing. Direction is changing. Again the speed is increasing. For everything we require that force is acceleration due to gravity. Due to gravity of the earth. So earth will be having one gravity. Moon will be having one gravity, Jupiter will be having one gravity. So, if a body has to stick to the earth, it should have some gravitational force. The gravitational force depends on the mass, density and its distance from the other objects. So, this is the place we think. And see, this acceleration due to gravity is also depending on the radius. So, the radius of the earth is more at the equator. See, I told you 12,740 and see this is the earth. From here the distance is what? 12,740. And what about the distance at the equator? 750. So greater the radius, greater will be the acceleration due to gravity. So at the poles the earth's radius is less, acceleration due to gravity will be less. So if anything is happening, the impact of the earth's acceleration due to gravity is less. And on the surface, the Earth's acceleration due to gravity is more. If you ask me, what is the reason? Because of the radius. Similarly, on the moon also, that one will vary. And see, this is the reason for, suppose, see, if you look at the map of India, basically, India, we are going to launch. So basically, most of the launching stations are northern side. So we can launch the Sriharikota is there. We can consider at the southern pole. But why are we consider above means, as towards the pole, the radius is decreasing. Acceleration due to gravity will decrease. So when the satellite or whenever the rocket is going, the acceleration due to gravity on the satellite will be less. So that is why they are just choosing not near to the equator, they will be choosing above the equator. You may get it out. Sir, why can't we launch it from the Jammu and Kashmir? It is even less expensive. But if we launch from the Jammu and Kashmir, so if it fails, that will fall on the human beings. That is impact. So two factors we have to consider. One thing, we have to consider acceleration due to gravity. Other thing, we have to consider loss on the human beings. So if we keep here, there will be very less. But there is a Sri Lanka over here. So that Sri Lanka is going to get impacted. If we launch it from here, so then it is falling onto the Bay of Bengal. If it fails, so little bit also you are going, that will impact. So why am I saying all these means? This is small g, acceleration due to gravity will change every way. So this is 6th on the moon. Acceleration due to gravity is 6th of the. For suppose W equal to mg. For suppose weight equal to, if your weight is 60 kgs and you have to consider acceleration due to gravity. So basically we are considering it as a 9.8 or 1. So it will be 60. But if the same person goes on to the moon, W equal to mg. So yes, weight mass is 60 kgs, but the acceleration due to gravity is 1/6 of the Earth. Then the weight of the person will become 10 kg. Person is same. Why the weight is varying? Because he is on the moon. And on the moon the acceleration due to gravity is less. So that is why the acceleration due to gravity is not same like Earth on the moon. And it is different on the Jupiter. And for your another answer, again it needs more of the physics. So that is why I am just giving you an overview. It is not same everywhere. It will vary. So that is why rocket launching, everything they will be considering by near to the poles or by away from the equator is because you just take any rocket launching station, any country, that will definitely away from the equator. But if they don't have any other alternative, they will be on the equator. For suppose just to see, if a car is moving a high slope, it has to move on the first gear. More fuel will be consumed. Yes or no? If it is going in this manner, you can even switch on the engine also. You can save the fuel. Similarly, if the rocket is moving, there will be acceleration due to gravity. We have to overcome that. So more we overcome, so fuel will be saved. So in order to save the fuel, they will be more moving there. Why it is less on the acceleration due to gravity means because of the radius. On the poles, acceleration due to gravity will be less. On the equator, acceleration due to gravity will be more.
Acceleration due to gravity is more force.
No.
10 million.
No, impact I am saying. Acceleration due to gravity, impact. This is impacting, this is on the radius. On the equator only it will be more. Beyond the equator it will be reduced. So it's not that. So it will be reducing on the pole. Impact of acceleration due to gravity will be less near to the poles and more on the equator.
So then why G is 10 at the poles and L is 9.8?
So I'm saying impact. See, if the acceleration due to gravity is impact is less at the poles, so because of that impact only we are using that. So I think you are seeing whatever the Google is saying, just look at it once again. This is the basic reason. So I also told you about rocket launching station. Okay, poles it will be less. On the equator it will be more. So that is the only reason. So we are launching the rocket launching stations and other things. And moreover, because of that also Coriolis force will also be there. There are no much more cyclones on the equator. In order to get the cyclones, that will be above the equator. That is also one reason. Everything is due to what? This acceleration due to. Again, there is some explanation will be there. I'll explain at when I explain about the earthquakes and volcanoes.
Because Coriolis force, there is zero force, now that will happen.
Hmm.
Coriolis force, that is pseudo force, that not happening.
No, Coriolis force means there has to be some rotational force will be there. So for suppose see, again that requires again half an hour explanation. I tell you this. Coriolis force means for suppose in order to have a cyclone, we need a spiraling effect. That spiraling effect will be more less on the equator. So if we move away from the equator, the spiraling force will be more. Because of that spiraling force, more low pressure will be there. Because of the low pressure, the cyclone will be very much present. So that is the reason. All around the equator, it is taken as 9.8. On the equator, on an average, acceleration due to gravity will be taken as 9.8. And that is depending on the radius. So just Google it, or else acceleration due to gravity and the radius it will be there. So the acceleration due to gravity, the radius of the earth is more at the equator. The radius of the earth is less at the poles. This is the basic thing. So that is impacting the acceleration due to gravity. Okay? You will learn more at the physics regarding that. Okay? So next, this is again out of the context, out of the box. This is not in our syllabus. So you will study this more in the physics, acceleration due to gravity, orbital velocity, escape velocity, etc. But why is it more and why is it on the earth means I just explained you why acceleration due to gravity will vary. And again, from the surface towards the radius, again the acceleration due to gravity will decrease. At the center of the earth, acceleration due to gravity will be 0. So that is another thing. So this is about seasonalities. Okay. So on which factors does this seasonality is impacting? So 5 factors. Okay. And also subsolar point will vary. The subsolar point is highest at the tropics. So next important concept is geomorphology. Geomorphology. Very, very important point. This is considered as heart of the geography. There are few things: geomorphology, oceanography, and also climatology. Climatology. So for understanding oceanography, for understanding climatology, we require geomorphology. So what is this geomorphology? This geomorphology is, there are certain forces on the earth which we will be calling them as endogenic forces and also exogenic forces. Endogenic forces and also the exogenic forces. See, exo means what? Exo means external, that means outside. Endo means inside. So there are changes that are happening within the earth's surface. There are changes that are happening outside the earth's surface. The combination of these two, inside forces, outside forces, is called as geomorphology. So for suppose, let us take a volcano. Let us take a volcano. Volcano will be releasing some material outside, lava or magma, that will be coming and settled outside. So the volcano is nothing but it is an endogenic force. So volcano came out, bursted out, it came out. So after that, this volcano, what happens to this volcano? It gets dried up. For suppose, see, there is a rock. Just imagine there is a rock. This rock is completely getting exposed to the sunlight. So on this rock, see, for suppose, just imagine the radius or diameter something of the rock. Sunlight is falling continuously on this rock on the daytime. So just imagine, this is the outermost surface of this rock. This outermost surface will be getting very much impacted by this sun. Yes, sir. So because of the sunlight, this outermost surface will get weakened. And next in the daytime, it is completely expanding because of the sunlight. In the night time, it is contrast. So or else it is completely contracting. So it will come together, it will again expand. So contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion. So for not for one day, not for 2 days, for some hundreds of years, for some thousands of years. After a few days, this outermost surface will be peeled off. If you look at some rocks, you can see the surface of the rocks. They are very much different. So why? Because continuous exposure of the sun, continuous exposure of the night air away from the sun, there will be changes in the outermost layer. After a few days, what happens to this one? The length will decrease. And now this new layer will get exposed to the sun. Again after a few days, the length will change. See, for suppose there is a mountain. So because of this sun rays, the length of the mountain will definitely decrease. Yes or no? For suppose see, there are old mountains. Fold mountains are there. Young fold mountains will be there. Old fold mountains will be there. Shivaliks are an example for the old fold mountains. Old fold mountains means over the period of time the length, the actions will be decreasing. So that means sunlight means is it external force or inside force? External. So one side earth is releasing some material, on the other side on this material there are external forces. Sunlight will be falling. For suppose this outermost layer is getting weakened. If the rain falls on this, it will further weaken. If the wind flows on this, it will further weaken. So on these forces there are also exogenic. So the combination, we will be studying how these endogenic forces are impacting, how these exogenic forces are impacting. The combination of this is nothing but the geomorphology. Okay? So this is the one. So how Earth came into existence? We can see the different planets. 29% is only land mass and remaining 70% is water. So how this is varied? For suppose see, once upon a time it is considered that India and Australia are very near to each other. But later on India moved away from the Australia. So it is very difficult for us to imagine, but the things happen. So let us discuss that. So the first concept is geomorphology. See, we have completed universe and solar system. That is one isolated concept. Then we started seasonalities. For that seasonalities, we are depending how the sun's rays is impacting, how the sun's energy is impacting. And the next is geomorphology. This is inside the earth and also outside. Geomorphology is a combination of endogenic forces, exogenic forces. Endogenic means inside. Example is volcano. Even earthquake is related to the inside. Minings are related to the inside. Acceleration due to gravity, as I told you, if you go deeper into the earth, acceleration due to gravity will decrease. Temperature will decrease. So increase. Temperature will further increase. So that is why these are the inside forces. If you look at the outside, rain will be there, wind will be there, sunlight will be there, contraction will be there, seasonalities, everything will be outside. So the interplay of these two is nothing but the geomorphology. So first of all, let us discuss the structure of the earth. How the structure of the earth is there, how the earth came into existence, etc. Okay? In a simple, first of all, let us see how earth came into the existence and etc. See, for suppose if you look at the globe, this is the earth. Once upon a time, what happened is, so entire land mass, if you see North America, South America, Africa, Australia, everything, right now they are at different positions. But once upon a time, what scientists have believed is that entire land mass is located at one particular place. There is no India, North America, South America, everything is not there. As I told you, Earth formed around which, how many days ago? 4.6 billion years ago. Previously, the entire world is in the form of a tiny ball. So, Big Bang theory, we discussed this tiny ball broke up because of the internal factors within the tiny ball. Similarly, Earth formed. When this Earth formed, see, first of all, there is no water at all. Yes or no? There is no water at all. But as I told you, there is a continuous rainfall, water came into existence. So after that, if you look at the earth, this is called as a landmass. So this is called as super landmass, okay, or mega landmass also. This is called as a Pangaea. So, and if you look at this one, ocean. So completely it is filled up with the ocean. Okay? So this is called as Panthalassa. So Panthalassa is a complete ocean. Pangaea is a complete landmass. So this is the thing. But what the scientists have believed is that due to some internal forces inside the earth, this landmass broken away into two pieces. Okay? We will be studying this mechanism, how this has been broken away, etc. So this Pangaea broken away into two pieces. So this is northern portion is called as Laurasia, and the southern portion is called as Gondwana land. See this Pangaea, whatever is there, it got divided into two pieces. First it got divided into two pieces. Again later on it was divided into multiple pieces. Again this was also later on divided into multiple pieces. This was belief of the scientists. See, first of all, as I told you, there will be hypothesis. There will be one imagination. Based on that imagination, they will be going for the theories. Different scientists will be giving different theories. So there is a continental drift theory given by one scientist. So there is a seafloor spreading theory given by one scientist. Convection current theory given by one time scientist. Plate tectonic theory given by one scientist. So present Earth is different compared to the previous Earth. So previously entire Earth, so if this entire Earth if we consider, the landmass, the solid part is present as a one part, that is called as Pangaea. It is surrounded by the water. Water is called as Panthalassa. Due to some internal changes inside the Earth, this landmass got broken away. So it slowly divided into pieces. The present position, if you see, North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, Oceania. So we will be discussing that. So how they got divided? What force is responsible for that division? If you see, once upon a time there are dinosaurs. Right now there is no dinosaurs. So what happened to them? So all the things we will be discussing once we go deeper into the concept. Okay? This is the first important thing. Okay? Just write up this. Once upon a time, just keep the heading geomorphology. 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 Main heading geomorphology. Geomorphology. With regard to geomorphology, with regard to geomorphology, it is a combination of endogenic and exogenic it is a combination of endogenic and exogenic forces. Endogenic and exogenic forces. Endogenic means the phenomenon which is happening inside the earth. The phenomenon which is happening inside the earth. Next. Example, volcanic eruption. Example, volcanic eruption. Example, volcanic eruption. Next. Exogenic forces are those forces. Exogenic forces are those forces which happens due to the external factors, which happens due to the external factors. External factors. Example, impact of sun, wind, rainfall, and many other factors. Rainfall and many other factors. Next, there were many theories. With regard to present composition and position of plates, that is countries and continents. Countries and continents. It was believed that once upon a time, all the continents or the entire landmass is present at one position, which is called as Pangaea. And all the ocean is surrounding this landmass. All the ocean is surrounding this landmass. All the ocean surrounding this landmass is called as what? Panthalassa. P-A-N-T-H-A-L-E-S-S-A. Panthalassa. Panthalassa. Full stop. Due to the internal changes inside the earth, this Pangaea broken away into two pieces. Laurasia and Gondwana. Laurasia and Gondwana. Laurasia is northern one. Gondwana is southern Greece. Okay. So the entire landmass is called as supercontinent. The entire ocean is called as mega ocean. For suppose if you see there are many oceans, many continents, but at that time there is only one landmass, supercontinent. At that time only one ocean, mega ocean. So again internal landmasses got broken into multiple pieces. So why did they broken away? So is there any reason behind that? And see, the reason behind that, what is the phenomenon behind that? Did they really broken away, etc. We'll discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow's class is very, very important. You'll understand all the relating phenomena over there. Okay? Just revise it. Latitudes, longitudes. Passes అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఇండియా ఉంది కదా, ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ సపోజ్ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ తీసుకున్నాం అనుకో, ఇప్పుడు మనం ఇక్కడ క్లాస్ పిలిచినాం కదా, ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఏ లాంగిట్యూడ్ పాస్ అవుతుంది, ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఏ లాటిట్యూడ్ పాస్ అవుతుంది. ఆ రెండు కాంబినేషన్ పర్సన్ ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేసి ఈజీ. మనం మ్యాథమెటిక్స్ తీసుకున్నాం కదా, గ్రాఫ్ లో ఒక పాయింట్ ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయాలనుకున్నాం. ఏం కావాలనుకున్నాం మనం? ఎక్స్ అండ్ వై యాక్సిస్. ఇప్పుడు మనకి ఎక్స్ అండ్ వై యాక్సిస్ ఏంటి? లాటిట్యూడ్స్, లాంగిట్యూడ్స్. అది తెలిస్తే ఈజీగా తెలిసిపోతుంది ఎక్కడైనా కూడా. అందుకే మీరు గూగుల్లో చూస్తే ఏదైనా మ్యాప్ చూస్తే మీకు బాక్సెస్ కనిపిస్తాయి, వర్టికల్ లైన్స్, హారిజాంటల్ లైన్స్. అవన్నీ లాటిట్యూడ్స్. మనం 1 డిగ్రీ తీసుకున్నాం, అగైన్ అందులో మినిట్స్ ఉంటాయి, మళ్ళీ అగైన్ దేర్ ఆర్ సబ్ డివిజన్స్, ఇంకా సబ్ డివిజన్స్ ఉంటాయి. సింగిల్ లొకేషన్ తీసుకుంటే ఇంకా మైక్రోస్కోపిక్ వస్తుంది. సో పెద్దదిగా తీసుకొని మనం చేసుకున్నాం లాటిట్యూడ్స్ అండ్ లాంగిట్యూడ్స్. స్టార్టింగ్ కూడా చెప్పాను క్లాస్ స్టార్టింగ్, ఒక పొజిషన్ ని ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయాలంటే మనకు లాటిట్యూడ్స్, లాంగిట్యూడ్స్ కావాలి. ఓకేనా?
డైరెక్షన్ తెలుసుకోవాలంటే సార్, డైరెక్షన్స్ అంటే ఫారెస్ట్ లో ఉన్నప్పుడు డైరెక్షన్ తెలుసుకోవాలంటే ఎలా సార్?
మనకు దానికి మళ్ళీ కంపాస్ అవసరం. కంపాస్ అవసరం వల్ల అది ఎట్ సైడ్ వెళ్తుంది అనుకో, నార్త్ సైడ్ టిల్ట్ అయిపోతే అది కంపాస్ లో ఉన్న దాన్ని పట్టుకొని ఇది నార్త్ సైడ్ అని చెప్పి షిఫ్ట్ చేస్తుంది. ఈవెన్ అప్పట్లో యూనో సేలర్స్ ఉండేవాళ్ళు కూడా కంపాస్ పెట్టుకునే వాళ్ళు, దాన్ని బట్టి నార్త్ డైరెక్షన్ పెట్టుకునే వాళ్ళు, నార్త్ తెలిస్తే అపోజిట్. మళ్ళీ దానికి దీనికి ఏం సంబంధం లేదు. నార్త్ సౌత్ డైరెక్షన్ వేరే, అది మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ పోల్. ఎర్త్ కి మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ పోల్ ఉంటుంది కదా. ఫర్ సపోజ్ ఇప్పుడు చూడండి, నార్త్ సౌత్ ఉంటుంది ఒక మ్యాగ్నెట్. ఇప్పుడు ఒక మ్యాగ్నెట్ తీసుకొని ఇంకొక మ్యాగ్నెట్ తీసుకున్నాం అనుకో, ఇప్పుడు ఈ నార్త్ కి ఏది అట్రాక్ట్ అవుతుంది? సౌత్. ఇప్పుడు మనం ఒక మ్యాగ్నెట్ తీసుకొని కంపాస్ తీసుకున్నాం అనుకోండి, అది ఎందుకు టిల్ట్ అవుతుందంటే ఎర్త్ నార్త్ మ్యాగ్నెట్ కి టిల్ట్ అయిపోతుంది. అందుకోసం కంపాస్ చేంజ్ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది. ఎర్త్ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ ని బేస్ చేసుకొని అది మూవ్ అవుతుంటుంది, ఇది నార్త్ ఇది సౌత్ అని చెప్పి ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేస్తుంది. దానికి కంపాస్ కావాలి.
కంపాస్ లేకపోతే ఎలా సార్?
కంపాస్ లేకపోతే ఎలా అంటే లేదు, అలానే కాదు. మనకు సన్లైట్ చూసుకొని చెప్పొచ్చు నార్త్ సౌత్ అని చెప్పేసి, ఈస్ట్ వెస్ట్ అని చెప్పేసి. సో ట్రెడిషనల్ మెథడ్స్ ఉంటాయి, దానికి సైంటిఫికల్ గా యాక్సెప్టెడ్ థింగ్స్ ఏముండవు. అంతే, కంపాస్ కావాలి నార్త్. లేకపోతే ఏదైనా ఐరన్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ తీసుకొని అది ఎట్ సైడ్ టిల్ట్ అవుతుంది అని చెప్పి చూసుకోవచ్చు. లేకపోతే విండ్ డైరెక్షన్ బట్టి కూడా తెలుస్తూ ఉంటుంది. మనకు ఇప్పుడు ప్రివైలింగ్ విండ్స్ అనేవి ఉండేదాన్ని, ఎప్పుడు విండ్స్ ఒకే డైరెక్షన్ లో ఫ్లో అవుతా ఉంటుంది. దేర్ ఈస్ సమ్ విండ్స్ కాల్డ్ as prevailing winds, 360 degrees అలానే ఉంటుంది. సో బట్ వాటిపైన డిపెండ్ అవుతుందని చెప్పడానికి కూడా లేదు. ట్రెడిషనల్ మెథడ్స్ ఉంటే ఇట్ ఇస్ డిఫికల్ట్. సైంటిఫికల్ గా మనకి ఏం తెలియదు, కాకపోతే ఎక్కడికక్కడ ఉండే లోకల్ మెథడ్స్ ని బట్టి చెప్పొచ్చు. ఎందుకు ఆల్అౌట్ ఎందుకు వచ్చింది? ఏం వ్యాలిడ్ థింగ్స్ లేవు అలాంటివి ఉండడానికి. ఫర్ సపోజ్ ఇప్పుడు చూడు, అప్పట్లో బాటర్ సిస్టమ్స్ ఉండేవి, దానికి యాక్సెప్టెడ్ థింగ్స్ లేవు. దాని ప్లేస్ లోనే మనకి ఫిజికల్ ఈ బ్యాలెన్సెస్ వచ్చాయి. సో డైరెక్షన్స్ కరెక్ట్ గా లేవందే ఈస్ట్ వెస్ట్ నార్త్ సౌత్ వచ్చింది. టైం కరెక్ట్ గా లేదని లాంగిట్యూడ్స్ వచ్చింది. దట్ ఈస్ అవుట్ ఆఫ్ బాక్స్ మళ్ళీ. సో బేసికల్ గా కంపాస్ ని యూజ్ చేసుకొని విల్ బి యూజింగ్ ఫర్ ద డైరెక్షన్స్. సెయిలర్స్ యూజ్ చేస్తారు. మీరు ఎప్పుడైనా పైరేట్స్ ఆఫ్ కరీబియన్ అలాంటి మూవీస్ చూస్తూ ఉంటే వాళ్ళు ఎప్పుడు కంపాస్ ని పట్టుకొని చూస్తూ ఉంటారు. వాళ్ళు ఓన్లీ నార్త్ డైరెక్షన్ ని చూస్తారు. ఎందుకంటే సౌత్ విల్ గెట్ అట్రాక్టెడ్ టువర్డ్స్ ద నార్త్ కాబట్టి, సో దట్ విల్ గెట్ అట్రాక్టెడ్. సో ఇది నార్త్ డైరెక్షన్, ఎందుకంటే నార్త్ పోల్ కి నార్థరన్ మ్యాగ్నిట్యూడ్ లాగా ఫీల్ అవుతూ ఉంటారు. ఎర్త్ మ్యాగ్నెటిజం. మళ్ళీ మనం చూస్తూ ఉంటే ఒక చిన్న మ్యాగ్నెట్ ఉంటుంది, ఎర్త్ ని ఒక పెద్ద మ్యాగ్నెట్ గా ఫీల్ అవుతుంది. మ్యాగ్నెటిజం ఎలా వస్తుంది? ఫర్ సపోజ్ ఒక ఐరన్ బాక్స్ తీసుకొని దానికి ఒక ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీ సప్లై ఇవ్వండి, సో దాట్ విల్ యాక్ట్ యాజ్ ఎ మ్యాగ్నెట్. అవునా కదా? ఇప్పుడు ఒక ఐరన్ రాడ్ తీసుకొని దానికి ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీ సప్లై ఇస్తే దట్ విల్ యాక్ట్ యాజ్ ఎ మ్యాగ్నెట్. అసలు ఈ మ్యాగ్నెటిజం ఎలా వచ్చింది? ఎలక్ట్రోమాగ్నెటిజం అని చెప్పి మీరు వినవు. వెన్ దే వర్ డూయింగ్ సమ్ ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్, ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీకి సంబంధించిన ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్ చేసినప్పుడు దాని నుంచి కరెంట్ పాస్ అయినప్పుడు ఐరన్ థింగ్స్ వెళ్ళి దానికి అట్రాక్ట్ అయింది. అప్పుడు ఎలక్ట్రోమాగ్నెటిజం అనే కాన్సెప్ట్ వచ్చింది. సో దేర్ ఇస్ ఎ కనెక్షన్ బిట్వీన్ ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీ అండ్ magnetism. When the electricity is passing through that, it is having some magnetism, that is electromagnetism. అలాగే మన మ్యాగ్నెట్ ఎప్పుడు కూడా నార్త్ కి ఇలా ఎందుకు టిల్ట్ అవుతుందంటే ఎర్త్ ని ఒక మ్యాగ్నెట్ గా ఫీల్ అవుతుంది. ఎర్త్ ఇస్ ఎ హ్యూజ్ మ్యాగ్నెట్. మళ్ళీ అది కూడా చేంజ్ అవుతుంది. ఎర్త్ మ్యాగ్నెట్ అనేది డిపెండింగ్ ఆన్ ద థింగ్, నార్త్ సౌత్ అది కొంచెం లిటిల్ బిట్ వ్యారీ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది. ఇదంతా ఫిజిక్స్. మీరు అడిగింది యాక్సిలరేషన్ డ్యూ టు గ్రావిటీ, డైరెక్షన్స్, ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఇస్ ఫిజిక్స్. దిస్ ఇస్ నాట్ జియోగ్రఫీ. అందుకే నేను చెప్పాను, ఫర్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్ ద జియోగ్రఫీ వీ నీడ్ ఫిజిక్స్, బట్ నాట్ జియోగ్రఫీ ఇస్ కంప్లీట్లీ ఫిజిక్స్. మళ్ళీ ఇది చెప్తూ పోతుంటే అగైన్ మళ్ళీ మీకు ఆ ఫినామినన్ ఆఫ్ ఫార్ములాస్ ఇవన్నీ కావాలి. You will be discussing that in the physics. So, but here, how acceleration due to gravity, it is impacting, that one we require. Okay? Any doubts? Practice. How the practice is going on? Same. Rasunana, Malay answers. I'll just tell you one thing. In a 5 minutes, I'll just compare you one thing. For suppose see, take a person who is preparing for some physical events, sub-inspector or group 2 or central armed police forces, assistant commandant or anything. A person is preparing for a physical events. For these physical events, two aspects are very much necessary. One thing is he has to go for a diet. See, physical events means on the examination he has to perform what? 800 meters or 1600 meters, some kind of race he has to perform on the track. Okay, so that is the physical event. So for that he has to practice. What he has to practice? He has to practice say 800 meters every day, 1600 meters every day. Getting my point? See, a person is preparing for a physical event. Then he has to perform 800 meters or 1600 meters. This is the examination. For that, what this person is doing? He need to have a proper diet and he need to have a proper practice. Every day he has to run. Every day he has to run because at the final examination he has to show his running performance. For supposing the same person, what he is doing is that regularly he is following the diet. Proper diet is having. But instead of practice, for this practice what he is doing is that he is doing some videos. He is just looking at some regular videos. For suppose there are some videos which is showing thumbnails. If you look at this video, you can run 800 meters very easily. Within 1 second you can crack 800 meters. Within 1 second you can crack 1600 meters. This video will change your life. So that kind of videos will be there. What this person is doing is that every day he is having proper diet, very good juices he is having. But instead of practice, what he is doing? Videos. And he is in a belief that he is practicing. So for suppose in that video it say first you have to move your right leg, then left leg. You have to breathe in this manner. So regularly he is doing videos, but he is not practicing. Will he excel in the examination? For that, what he has to do? Practice is required. Same. You can see some kind of humor over here. So he is doing videos, but he is not practicing. Similarly, as an aspirant, a common aspirant, what he is doing? So he has to perform what? Exam. He has to write in the exam. He has to answer MCQs in the examination. For that exam, we require what? Coaching will be there, or else self-study or anything will be there. But finally what he is doing? Exam. And same kind of exam he has to do what? Practice. Because on the preliminary examination you will be getting a question paper. They are not asking you revise everything. They are just keeping an exam. You have to answer that. So as he is doing 800 meters running race, what he has to do? Practice 800 meters. As he is writing examination every day, what he will have to do? Practice. Write exam every day. But what the people will be doing is that they will be taking the coaching and they will be reading every time. Reading means 12 hours they will read, 13 hours they will read, 15 hours they will read. They will be continuously doing what? But they are not doing. In this case, what they are doing? Looking at the videos. They are in an imagination that we are running. They are in an imagination that yes, I am going to excel. But what he is not doing? Will he get success? Are you comparing my things? Here also, you are reading continuously. You are spending your whole time on the reading, but you are not keeping time for the practice. Why are you not keeping time for the practice? Because it is difficult. For reading, it is easy. You are coming, you are sitting on the chairs, just closing your ears or moving away from the entire world, and you are just reading. Reading entirely will never give you result. The only thing you require is practice. So for the preliminary, you have to do what? MCQs. You have to practice as many MCQs as possible. And for UPSC mains, you have to write what? Answer writing. Answer writing. Will you get through reading or else will you get through practice? Practice. If I tell you one day, You will practice it for 2 days. But from the third day there is no practice. From the third day you are having only reading. Reading will never fetch you anything. So there are multiple students. I see, for suppose 99% is a failure in the UPSC or any government examination. Because everybody is doing what? Reading. But everybody is not doing the practice. See, for suppose if you feel that coaching will only give you the result, coaching will only give you the result. What is the investment for coaching? So maybe 1 lakh, maybe 2 lakh, maybe 3 lakh. Will it be that much, less expensive this rank is? అంటే జస్ట్ ఒక 2 లక్షలు 3 లక్షలు పెడితే వచ్చేసంటే everybody will rush here. Coaching is not sufficient. Reading is also not sufficient. But what is required is practice. Just have a survey in the class. Out of 50 students, only 1 or 2 students will be going for a regular practice. I am asking you to practice only for 50 minutes. Write something on this. So try to answer few things on this. This practice will only make you perfect. Because in the examination they are not orally asking you the answers. Tell me what is the oceanography. Tell me what is the seasonality. They are not asking you. But you have to present them in the examination. You have to present them in the examination. For presenting that you require what? Practice. I hope this is enough for you. You have laughed when I said you this one. The person is looking at the videos, he is not practicing. Similarly, you should also laugh on this also. Because you are only reading, but you are not doing this. Even when we keep the examination also, out of 100 attendants, only 50% are writing the exam. And see, this is the initial days, yes, most people will write. And if the days are passing, the people attending the examination will even decrease to 25%. Why will the decrease means? They are getting less marks. When they get less marks, they will be getting demoralized and they will don't attempt in the next examination. But the thing you have to keep it in mind is, this is not the real exam. The real exam is far away. So for that you are learning. Even though you get the 0 marks also, doesn't matter. But you have to get 100 marks in the real examination. This is not the real examination. For performing excellent in the real examination, you have to perform, you have to learn from your mistakes. So don't fail in attempting the exam. Practice regularly, practice mains questions regularly. So just to make your hand habitual, write something. So I told you multiple times, spend 15 minutes for write something. But over the period of time, your enthusiasm is decreasing on writing. But your enthusiasm is there on the reading. Regularly I am watching 2 hours video, 3 hours reading, everything is there. But nobody is writing answer writing. Just look at that. Very few people are saying that I have done answer writing. That also, for suppose if as I told you today, for the next 3 days I will see answer writing 15 minutes or 20 minutes. But again from the 4th day that will decrease. You may feel that sir is not observing or not keeping surveillance, but still I am seeing. So even though you don't read also doesn't matter. It matters is practice. For suppose there is a director. Director is having very good thoughts in his mind. But when he is directing the movie, if the thoughts are not presented in that movie, will that movie get success? You are having lot of thoughts in your brain, but that thoughts should be presented on the paper. In CAPF paper too, most of the people are failing. Why are they getting failed? Unable to present properly. In UPSC mains, why the people are unable to get success? Because they are unable to put that on the papers. You need to have skills that is nothing but the presentation skills. That presentation skills is not a matter of single day. It is a matter of 1 year. It's a matter of 2 years, or it matter of 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Over the period of time, the person will increase. So that is why make yourself habituate in writing. So that will only fetch you to get success. Okay? So again, we'll continue this thing in the next class. If you didn't understood, take the videos from the sir, listen to it again and again. If you have any doubt, keep a post in that. Again, I'll explain that in the class. Okay? So don't feel yourself shy in asking the questions. Geography is very much important. You will be getting most of the marks, or else around 15 to 20 marks from the geography. And it is difficult to understand also. And as I told you, don't go deeper into that. Nobody has answers for that. So as your friend asked, how they used to find out the directions. There is no answer for that. Even scientists also don't have any answers before the magnetism came into the existence. Does this magnetism concept there since beginning? It is not there since beginning, it is came later on. Does this mechanism of fire, does this mechanism of sunlight, everything was discovered later on. So that is why geography you have to understand, it is difficult to make imaginations in the geography. That is why I am trying to imagine as many things as possible. Again tomorrow I will show you this Pangaea theory in the video. You can understand even more clearly. Okay? That's it. We'll continue the next class. And 7:30. I forgot, I thought because in the last week it is 7:30 now, your classes timings are 7:30. 7:30 to 9:30. So I think before last week. So 7:37 I am confusing, I thought it as 7:30, keep it as 7:30, 7:30 to 9:30 the classes will be. Okay? Next class will be.